Hello, welcome to just a little look at what's been going on with the mod pack. Just a little sneak peek of some stuff here. I keep coming up with things to add to this thing. I keep saying I'm done, and then I do more. But let's take a quick look at what the new things have been added so far. We now have 6 different types of trees. They do generate in the world. I don't have a way of doing saplings yet. We have gloam wood, just a regular, nice building material. We have the malum wood. There are 4 variants of the planks. You can make different patterns with the pulsing red and black. There's the wraith wood. The planks are actually a little slippery. I'd forgotten about that, and I spent about 10 minutes trying to figure out why it felt like I was slowing down walking across it. There's the bone wood. I would have called it blood wood, but that's already taken. Or is it? Do I even have natura anymore? I could have done it. I didn't want to make it confusing. Nice smooth texture there. Nice bright red color. The cinder wood. Oh. Game lagged for a second there. The cinder wood with its bright glowing textures. That was the first one I made. And the rune wood. These planks are directional. These are the rune wood columns, so you can make some cool patterns with those too. One day I'll figure out a way to make saplings for these things. Not yet though. We have the 6 different ores, and the blocks each can be used to make. We have the I'm forgetting the names of things now. The lazulite from the overworld used to make the lambent blocks. The garnic from the nether used to make the smoldering blocks. The phasmite from the end used to make the astral blocks. The verdite from the twilight forest to make fabled blocks. The archite from the erebus to make the stygian blocks. And the idolith from the spirit world, sort of, to make the dissonant blocks. And a couple other things. There is a stained glass variant, but I'm trying to figure something out with that's going wrong with those. There is an alternate detailed texture for each color. It's made the same way that a few other blocks are, by pouring catalyst over the color of stained glass in a casting basin. That's how you make things like these, by pouring it over one of the 6 vanilla types of wood. The logs and leaves, the planks are made by crafting from the logs. And for regular mossy and cracked stone bricks, when you pour catalyst over it, you get the coil stone bricks. And I really like these. When you place them next to a pure daisy, they will shift into the next configuration of 4, 1 for each direction. And you can use this to make some cool shifting wall patterns like this. That's why I called it coil stone. It's like little snake bricks wriggling around. I don't know. There are 4 types of fluid. Alright, some more blocks. There are the bewitched onions. They generate in the leaves of witchwood trees from Ars Magica. You'll find those rarely in witchwood groves. They drop bewitched onions that are decent food. Rock candy ore generates down in deep slate, down near the bedrock levels. It's alright. It drops a few of them, and it makes for a little snack while you're mining if you run out of food in an emergency. I don't remember how to get the speedy sardine. It's a mid-level food that gives you some boost of speed when you eat it. It was made for a particular person. They loved it. There are 4... Yes, I am a goat. The boots look silly. There are 4 liquids added. This is dawn sap. It gives off light and it flows upwards. These are just fluid displays. These aren't the actual blocks. I didn't want to wrangle with glass for this one. Dawn sap flows upwards and doesn't spread out. It goes in a straight line. Umbral oil flows down slowly in a straight line. Quicksand looks just like solid sand, except for it is actually a liquid, and I've had some fun using that in some structures. And this is the transmutation catalyst that is obtained by pouring bottle of transmutation catalyst into a smeltery, a tinker's smeltery, and then you pour this liquid over various blocks to transform them. It's very cheap. You just need some charcoal, glowstone, and ender air, the 3 most abundant materials I could think of that still require going to the nether in the end. And that recipe makes a bunch, which is used to make a bunch, and you don't need much of this to transform each block. So once you get some, I want these building blocks to be pretty easy to make, lots of them. We have moon drops, the currency for the quest book. You get those for the first time you beat a boss. First time you beat each boss, you'll get a set amount of these. Some bosses only give 1, some give up to 5, or maybe even more if they're really hard. You can spend those to get things like Infinity Orbs for Ars Magica, Chromatic Craft Blank Fragments, or knowledge points for hardcore Ender expansion. I might add things in the future if I can think of other uses for them. The Orpheus Pearl is used to make a lot of the custom music discs. It's obtained by breaking down some music discs can be turned into Orpheus Pearls, not all of them, not the ones you can craft, just the ones you can find by chance. So these aren't automatable, really. Null ingots and dreamy ingots. The dreamy ingots are used to make a block of a dreamy cube, and if you pour the catalyst over it, turns into a nightmarish cube. I really wanted to use these textures or something for the longest time, and now I might take off the border. We'll see how I feel about that. These are the ore items: lazulite, garnet, phasmite, verdite, arkite, and idolith, and the upgraded version of each. The upgraded versions require one of each of the different magic mods. You need progress in Ars Magica for this one, blood magic, chromatic craft, Botania, Thaumcraft, and witchery. If you don't have progress in the in the respective mod, you cannot make the fancy versions. They are also used for other things later on, so they're not just decoration. Most of those blocks can be made with the base one. The only one that requires the regal version is this fancy block right in the middle. Those empty slots will be filled with the upcoming alchemy system I am working on. I know I keep saying I'm not adding anything more, but we all know that's a lie. I have not decided how exactly it's going to work out, but I have the textures and I have the ideas ready for it. It just has to be implemented yet. On the back of this is all the custom music discs I've added so far, and yes, I've got a problem. About a dozen that use this texture. They're technical ones for use with the quest book. This is the title menu theme if you want to listen to it in game as well. The ones that have similar textures are sort of sets. These 4 here have a theme. These 4 here have a theme. These ones here were the first ones I added. These ones here all have similar ideas to their sounds. These top 2 rows here are obtained from the Twilight Forest. These ones are all the miscellaneous ones. In the middle here. And oh yes, one last change is that the Thaumcraft Tainted Lands look a lot more hostile than they used to. That is a lot more aggressive than when I left it earlier. The tree trunk logs have been transformed into crusted ichor, and they're covered in scarlet tendrils. The Tainted Lands are now known as the Scarlet Mire. The biome is more of a swamp with mountains sticking up out of it. You are bright red. That's fun. I like that color. I'm slowly replacing each texture for the Tainted Lands with something a little more ominous. So far, I like how it's turned out. And the last thing, we'll just take a really quick run through of the quests. The Path of the Explorer has to do with discovering some of the new things I've added or the different dimensions. A lot of those quests don't have rewards. They're just checkpoints, sort of. For example, this one tells you about lazulite, and gives a hint as to how to create regal lazulite, but it doesn't have a reward. It's just a process, so you know how to do it. Since those are just used for decoration blocks at the moment. Path of the Arcane has to do with the 6 magic mods. The Path of the Hunter is sort of bounty quests. Take out some furious zombies. Take out some shoggoths. There's some for each of the main dimensions. And then some. And the Path of the Conqueror is boss quests. They will reveal themselves once you've reached certain conditions, like once you've entered the Nether for the first time. Some will show themselves. The overworld doesn't have many at first. It has a few. And we'll just take a really quick look at all the bosses. There's quite a few. Oh, all the hunter quests. We're not going to look too much at those. Magic is a nightmare. Oh, no. And the Explorer. Yeah, and then there's the shop to spend your moon drops from being the bosses. And we're not going to look at any more of those. The rest will be left to discover. Have fun.